George Russell, a British Formula One driver, is known for speaking his mind. Recently, he had a lot to say about the way the FIA handled things at the Brazilian Grand Prix. During this race, the FIA issued a red flag when the weather became dangerous due to heavy rain. Russell felt the red flag should have been shown sooner. He believes that if the FIA had acted faster, drivers wouldn't have been put at such high risk. This wasn't the first time George expressed concerns about the FIA's decisions. In the past, he's talked about inconsistencies in how rules are enforced, which sometimes lead to confusing situations on the track. He, like other drivers, wants races to be fair and safe, but he feels that the FIA's choices sometimes make things chaotic. George is serious about wanting better decisions that create a balanced race environment where everyone knows what to expect. Heavy rain during the Brazilian GP made the race extremely tough for drivers. It was hard to see, and cars were slipping on the wet track. When the FIA finally stopped the race with a red flag, George felt it was too late. This timing caused frustration not just for him but for other drivers as well. They had to make split-second decisions in dangerous conditions, which could have been avoided with clearer communication and quicker actions from the FIA. George's main goal isn't just about stopping the race whenever it rains. He wants a well-thought-out approach where everyone's safety is respected without taking away the competitive thrill. F1 is a fast, exciting sport, but drivers need to feel confident that they won't be exposed to unnecessary risks. For George, it's about finding that balance where everyone can race safely without losing the intense spirit of Formula One. After the red flag was issued, drivers and their teams had to wait for a long time before the race resumed. This kind of delay can throw off a driver's concentration, especially in a sport as fast-paced as F1. George pointed out that waiting around in such conditions affects the energy and focus of the drivers, which can have a real impact when they get back on track. George has built a reputation as someone who will stand up for what he believes is right. His commitment to improving safety for all drivers is something fans respect. He doesn't hesitate to share his honest thoughts, even if it means criticizing the organization that governs his sport. This bravery has made George a voice for change in Formula One, pushing for a fairer and safer racing environment. Another problem George saw during the Brazilian GP was the lack of clear communication from the FIA. In a sport where split-second decisions can make all the difference, drivers need to know exactly what's happening and why. If the FIA could improve their communication, drivers like George would have a better understanding of the situation and could react accordingly, keeping them safer. The conditions at the Brazilian Grand Prix were incredibly tough, and George wasn't alone in struggling to keep control. Many drivers found themselves dealing with the same slippery, wet track. George believes that in cases like this, it's crucial for the FIA to act fast and consider the driver's safety as their top priority. It's a viewpoint that resonates with both fans and other racers who see these weather conditions as a big risk. George believes that F1 officials should spend more time talking to drivers about these issues. By hearing directly from the people who are out there on the track, the FIA could make more informed decisions. This kind of open dialogue could lead to changes that benefit everyone in the sport, from the drivers to the fans watching from home. When a red flag is issued, it pauses the race, giving drivers a chance to regroup. But for George, this decision should always come in time to prevent risky situations. The delay in Brazil seemed to add to the danger, and George thinks the FIA needs to rethink how they handle such situations to prioritize safety more effectively. The FIA could create races that are both safe for drivers and exciting for fans. In Brazil, George faced one of the toughest races of the season, with rain affecting the car's grip and visibility. Despite the challenges, he gave it his all. This dedication is what makes him a role model for young drivers who look up to him. George shows that racing is about more than speed, it's about standing up for the sport you love. Some fans see George's honesty as refreshing. In a sport where drivers don't always speak out, his straightforwardness is admired. He doesn't just race to win, he races to make Formula One a better place for everyone involved. This commitment is what sets him apart and makes him a favorite among fans who want the sport to keep improving. When asked about the Brazil incident, George explained that he speaks out because he cares about safety and fairness. He believes that by working together, the FIA drivers and teams can make Formula One an even better experience. His ideas could inspire future changes in how the sport is managed, leading to a safer and more competitive environment. With his focus on safety, George has shown that he's not just thinking about himself, he's considering all drivers. His actions show that he cares about the well-being of everyone on the track. This approach has earned him respect in the racing community, where his voice carries weight in important discussions about the sport's future. The FIA's response to George's feedback could set a precedent for how they handle safety concerns moving forward. If they're open to listening, it might lead to changes that benefit the sport as a whole. George's ideas about fairness and safety could shape the future of F1, making it a better place for both drivers and fans. George Russell also thinks that being fit and strong is very important for Formula One drivers. Racing can be exhausting and dangerous, so drivers have to be ready for anything that might happen on the track. George believes that by staying in top shape, he can react faster and make better choices, which keeps him safer and helps him drive better. To him, being fit isn't just about winning races, it's about being prepared for any tough situation he might face while driving. George also talks a lot about how important his team is. Even though he's the one driving the car, there's a whole group of people working hard to help him succeed. From the engineers who make sure his car is fast to the mechanics who fix it, George knows he couldn't do it alone. He often says that every win is a team win because everyone's hard work makes a big difference. He respects his team members a lot and wants everyone to know how important they are. Besides racing, George cares about the environment. Formula One cars are super powerful, and some of them used to cause a lot of pollution. But now, the sport is trying to be more eco-friendly, with engines that use less fuel and other changes to help the planet. George thinks this is great and wants to see more of it. He believes that F1, since it's so popular, should set a good example for protecting the Earth. Finally, George knows that being a Formula One driver can be stressful. There's a lot of pressure to do well, and people are always watching him. This can be hard on his mental health, which is just as important as being physically fit. George tries to stay calm and focused by practicing ways to relax, like taking deep breaths. He hopes other drivers and fans know that it's okay to take care of your mental health and that staying calm can help everyone do their best. What do you think about George Russell's stance on FIA decisions? Should the FIA make quicker calls during tricky weather? Comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more F1 insights.